All right, we're going to try this again. We're going to try again. I don't know what the frack happened. Okay, I don't know what happened. Maybe I was trying to be too fancy, too technical, too whatever. But yeah, so let me explain what's going on. All right, let me explain what's going on. It's crazy. It's crazy because I had just called in a little while ago to the Coach Hayes show, and just giving my 2 cents on everything that's going on. Forgive me, I'm trying to talk and do some other things at the same time. There we go, Cuban. I knew I'd get it right. And basically what I was telling Coach, and again, nobody has hurt my feelings. Nobody has sent me to a safe space. I wanted to give I just wanted to explain exactly what I meant. And what I mean is, okay, so you got Miami versus Notre Dame on the 31st. Okay, we're about a week, 10 days out. And unfortunately, unfortunately, when some of us try to speak reality, some of us try to speak our thoughts, our theories, our ideas based on reality and not the hype, you know the outcome. You get ridiculed, you get whatever. And that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not butthurt. I'm not upset. But I wanted to explain. So, talking about this Miami Notre Dame game, and we're going to get into this later on. I'll go more in depth. We will probably kick off the official South Coast Canes show probably next week, early next week. But the reason why I call Coach Hayes is there's a couple of reasons. One, because the last time I called in, I wouldn't shut up. But also, I've been kind of on the down low, except for the patio perspectives. But as far as the 2025 season goes, I really kind of just not really said anything due to the fact that what are we going to talk about? Do I keep regurgitating the talking points that have been pounded into us since January? Do I keep regurgitating the recruits and how great they are and how great the recruiting class is? Do I keep reiterating and regurgitating how great this offensive line is? Do I just again regurgitate and echo how great the defense is? No, I didn't want to do it. And here's the reason why is because if you've been paying attention to my patio perspectives, all this noise and all this talk, it's off season. Nobody knows. All right. The apparently the CCC has had an excellent off season. People are believing the hype. People are believing everything they're being told, you know. And again, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to come on here and be the antagonist. I'm not trying to piss in the Cheerios, but when it comes to the off-season hype, that's all it is, off-season hype. And for me personally, this is just me personally, I fell for that for a long time. And for some reason, sometime during the 2022 season, something snapped and said, hey, something's just not right. And that's when I've kind of changed my mentality, and I kind of started thinking about what's going on. Me, you, and Rick, get hell. I hear you, Cuban. I knew you would understand. But here's the thing. And please don't I don't know why I keep hitting this mic. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't understand that, like with Coach Hayes, when I call it, I called in and I gave my 2 cents. I told you what I thought. And since I'm not all, rah, rah, let's go Miami, we're going to win, yada, 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 the world evolves or revolves around Miami, then whatever. But I guess, yeah, I do suffer from PTSD because of the fact that I have seen this dialogue, this diatribe, this scripted play happen for 20 years at least. I could even go back to, the mid-90s. I could go back to the mid-90s in that, January, February, you talk about the great recruits that are coming to Miami, and even in December, you hear about these great prospects that are thinking about signing with Miami. And then, just like I said, January, February, you got these great recruiting classes. They're so talented. We've got some talent coming to Miami. And then you get into the spring practice, and you hear the talking heads saying, "Oh, this team is looking great. The spring practices are going well." And then you get into the doldrums of the summer, May, June, July. And all you hear is this player this player that, this recruit this recruit that. Okay. And then you get into fall camp and you hear about the great plays that are happening, the great practices that are happening on Green Tree. This has got to be the greatest team in X amount of years fielded by Miami. And, if you think that I'm just being some kind of hater, if you think that I'm just suffering from PTSD, if you think that I'm just whatever, go back. If you can, go back and look. every time when it gets to August, you have the same hype videos. You always have the same hype videos. And basically what I'm getting at, and we're gonna get into this later because I've really been waiting on some media guides to come out, but I'm at the point now. I'm tired of waiting. We'll get into it, but you know what? Like I said on Coach Hayes' show when I called in, maybe I missed the memo. Maybe I missed the email. Maybe I missed the Teams or Zoom call. Okay? But I'm trying to figure out, and I have been for the last few months, I have trying to figure out what has happened between January and now that has dictated and determined that Miami has this world's greatest offensive line. I don't know. What has happened? What have I missed that has determined and dictated that Miami has all these first-round draft picks on the offensive line? I don't know. I don't know. Again, I am not criticizing the players. I'm not criticizing those who are excited for the upcoming season. I'm just saying, what did I miss? Okay, what did I miss? Okay, and good point, Cuban. Good point, Cuban. I hope you've been doing well. I made a statement the other day on X, and I stand by it today, and I'm going to repeat it. If you remember this time last year, all right, all these folks that are proclaiming and praising Carson Beck right now, nothing against Carson. I'm talking about those who are hyping him up. You have all these folks that are talking about how Carson Beck is this, Carson is that, how great he is. Those were the same people that were criticizing Cam Ward last year. Think about it. This time last year, everybody was talking about how Cam Ward fumbled the ball. They talked about his interceptions. Okay? And how it was going to be detrimental to Miami. And if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong, y'all call me out. Go check me out. Because history was recorded and is being recorded. But my thought was that the reason for Cam Ward having interceptions and fumbles is he was just trying to do what he thought was right. He may have done a little too much. He may have tried too hard and possibly failed. But you bring it, and again, Cam was only paid $1 million in NIL. Carson Beck, $4+ million on NIL. Got a Lamborghini, allegedly got it stolen. I think it was an insurance claim, but I digress. So you bring in a $4 million plus quarterback. And just because of what he did at Georgia, he's going to be the next latest and greatest thing at Miami. Now, here's my hang up. And this goes for all transfers that come into Miami. Everybody wants to talk about what they did the previous season at previous school. And whatever that individual player does at the previous season, previous school, that transposes into automatic success for the 2025 Miami Hurricanes football team. Unfortunately, I don't believe that. And let me tell you why. What you did yesterday doesn't mean that's what you're going to do today. And again, this is not a knock on the players themselves. Okay? Oh, exactly, Cuban. You know, with Carson, he was at Georgia. Everybody knows that. And let's be honest with ourselves. Seriously, let's stop all the hype. Let's put the Kool-Aid glass down. Let's be honest with ourselves. Georgia is a whole nother universe and dimension than Miami. QB, what's up? Now, I am not saying Carson Beck is not talented. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what he did at Georgia doesn't mean he can't do it. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is what Carson Beck did and all these other transfer portal players did at their previous employer, i.e. school, doesn't automatically transpose that they're going to do the same exact thing for Miami. I'm not saying that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. We don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a DeLorean. I don't know what the future holds. I hope they do, but we don't know. And the reason why I say that is, and that's based on what we have seen since the transfer portal has exploded for Miami. You know, Cam Ward, he did well. He did good. He did very well. Unfortunately, we had a defense made of Swiss cheese, last year. And if you disagree, fine. But I encourage you to go look at the game tape from last year, you know. And here's the thing. As far as, and again, we will get into this later on. I promise we'll get into this. But, you know, me personally, as of right now, if I had to go with you know, the trend that's going on right now, all the season predictions and all this stuff, I could honestly see, and I'm going to probably get blasted for this, but I'll explain it. I could see Miami going 9-3, maybe 10-2. Let me explain. I feel, and it's hard to call the Notre Dame game because it's the first game of the season. We don't know what we're going to see. We really don't. And like I said on the Coach Hayes, it's a litmus test. We're going to see what this Miami team is about. You know, regardless of what Notre Dame has, we're going to see what Miami's about. But I could see right now on August 20th at 9:37 Central Standard Time, 10:37 on the East Coast. People on the West Coast, do the math. As of right now, right now, no games played. I could see a very confident Miami, undefeated Miami team going to Dallas. Excuse me. And getting humbled by SMU. I can see Miami regrouping, winning the rest of their games until it comes to Virginia Tech, in which, Miami's still in the hunt for the ACC with one loss. I can see them going to Virginia Tech at Blacksburg, and those who know Miami history with Virginia Tech since the days of the Big East, okay? Usually when something is at stake, i.e. ACC championship game berth, when you play at Blacksburg, it doesn't matter what talented team Virginia Tech may or may not have. When Miami comes to town, it's going to be crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a Friday night game. Don't quote me on it, but regardless of the fact, I still see the number 3 Miami team. I think it was number 3 Miami team went in there and got blown out, but I digress. But I could see a one loss in the ACC Miami team still got a shot of making it to the ACC championship, going to Blacksburg against that little quarterback Virginia Tech has that they played last year, Drovers, something like that. Little mobile quarterback. I could see Virginia Tech pulling off the upset just because of historic trends with Miami and Virginia Tech. And then the following week, I believe Miami goes to Pittsburgh, late November. I could see after a possible Virginia Tech loss, drones, thank you, Cuban. I could see after a possible Virginia Tech loss, Miami tail spinning and hitting a loss against Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. And then Miami making it to a bowl game at 9-3 and 3 in a row loss. Now, a lot of folks will say, you're a hater, you got PTSD, you're this, you're that. I don't really care what you think. It's just my opinion. It's just my thought. Just like everybody else has a thought, my theory, like everybody else has a theory. But I'm basing my, I guess, season prediction, if you will, based on what I have seen over the last 2 decades. But even if Miami goes into Virginia Tech at Blacksburg undefeated, all right, I don't know. I hope they win, but if Miami goes into to Virginia Tech undefeated, I don't have a good feeling about that. I really don't. Based upon past seasons, and can this coaching staff and this coaching administration, the whole group of them, can they not choke, okay, and win the big game? Now, if Miami gets out of Virginia Tech and Blacksburg with a win, okay, great, fantastic. Things have turned a corner. But unfortunately, that corner has not been turned in 20 years. So forgive me for my PTSD. Forgive me for my negative Nelliness. But until it happens, how am I supposed to feel? Yeah. I honestly, in the back of my mind, just like every season that I have been a part of with Miami for a long time, yeah, I think they'll go. I'm thinking, yeah, they'll go 12-0. They're going to run it through the playoffs. They're going to win it all. Every year, I think that, but I do try to be realistic. And if Miami can get out of Virginia Tech with a win and stay undefeated, then let's see what happens in Pittsburgh, you know. But that's just me. But what I wanted to get to is, you know, at this time of year, everybody's hyped up. Everybody is, let's, I don't know, sorry about that. I don't know. Everybody is, you know, rah, rah, rah. Let's run through the wall. You know, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Miami this. Miami, yeah, and that's cool. That's fine. Do your thing. Be you, baby. But let me be me. Okay? And, you know, I really think that Miami's going to, I really think they'll be undefeated going into Blacksburg. And if that's the case, I'm really nervous. I really am. I'm just telling you how I feel. And, you know, if people don't like what I have to say, I really don't care. You know, I'm just giving you my opinion. I know next week, next Wednesday, I believe it is, Coach Hayes is having that 8-hour takeover thing, and I got to work days on Wednesday and work days on Thursday, which means I got to be up early on Thursday morning. So I'm going to try. And if I do get on, if I am able to get on, and I'm really going to try to get on, I'm really going to be nice. But I'm telling y'all, I'm not. I've had enough of the hype. I've had enough of the you know, Miami's got the greatest offensive line but you don't give any explanation. I just want to see it on the game day game field. That's all I want to do. If you know, last year during the Florida game, and Cuban, we were texting, but we were really impressed with Miami against Florida last year in the opening game. But then it all went downhill after that. And I just want to see a coaching staff for Miami. I want to see a coaching staff. I don't care who the names are. I want to see a coaching staff that will set these young, talented players up for success and sustain that success. That's all. Exactly, Cuban. You sure did. And if anybody don't think Cuban said that, I will pull the text up for you. He said they're being handsy. Yes, he did. I will vouch for that. But here's the thing. Maybe it's because I've become this old, grumpy, get off my grass type of guy. But all this hype and hoopla, as fancy as it may be, as Vegas style as it may be, I just don't fall for it, you know. Let's just see what happens on the playing field, you know, on game day. All right. Let's see, what has this coaching staff developed? All right. And as you well know, if you've been watching my old ass, you know, I'm going to criticize the coaching staff or the head coach, which happens to be Mario. I'm not criticizing Mario. I'm criticizing the head coach, who happens to be Mario. Tomorrow it may be somebody else. All right. And if you're a Mario Cristobal fan, fantastic. Great. Do your thing. I'm not ridiculing you. But when I criticize the head coach, who happens to be Mario, who happens to be the one that you are fanboy about, don't get all butthurt with me. Because, you know, it is what it is. Lakers all day. What's up? What's up? What's up? But anyway, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to give a little more detailed explanation because I didn't want to rant and rave on Coach Hayes' stuff. We're gonna get into it a little bit more. I don't know, maybe this weekend, maybe Monday, I don't know. But we got to have we have got to have the South Coast Cane and family, you know, season preview, uh talk about what we have. Hopefully we got a media guide. Hopefully we have some type of whatever. But August 31st, yes, we will have a pregame show. We will do the same thing the best we can. And I'm just going to let y'all know that me personally, I'm just going to tell you how I feel based on the evidence that we see on game day. All right. Uh, we've had all these additions. The defense with, the new defensive coordinator, he there man or Heather man. Okay. They say he did some great things at Minnesota. Okay, cool. That's fine. But what has he done at Miami? That's all I'm saying, you know. I guess that's what it all boils down to. That, and look, I get it. I get it. A lot of these social media people, the content creators on the YouTubers and the Xers and this, I understand. I understand the situation. I understand how it works. You're trying to do your thing. You're trying to put content out there. You're trying to get people to like you and view you and do whatever. That's cool. I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking that whatsoever. But my philosophy is, let's be realistic. Okay? Let's not get mesmerized by the great and powerful Oz when there's somebody behind the curtain. That's all I'm saying. Uh, I want to see the Miami football organization be successful, just like everybody else. Just like everybody else. And a lot of these younger cats, okay, these 21st century Miami fans, the I've been a Miami fan since 2017, okay, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that, but I've been around the block a few times, and that does not make me any better of a Canes fan than anybody else. But I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, and believe it or not, all this stuff that we're being told, I've heard it since for 30 years. I've heard the same thing. Uh, but I have, as always, high expectations for Miami. I just want them to win the ACC for the first time. Okay. I think the path is clear for them because they only play two ranked teams this year in Notre Dame and SMU as of right now. Okay. But we'll see. We are going to see. But, me, just like you five folks, Lakers all day, QB, Cuban, Katie, all you five folks, it's about time for Ike and Israel to drop something. But, we all want Miami to be successful. We're all frustrated. We're all excited. We're anticipating something to happen. But let's not get stupid. Let's keep our wits about us. Let's not turn on each other. All right. And we'll see. So yeah. Until we meet again, and it'll be soon. I promise you, it will be soon. We will have our usual stuff. This is kind of an impromptu jump on, see what's happening, kind of shake the cobwebs off, get a little bit of the rust off the system. But yeah, we will get back together. We will do our usual thing. You know, Cuban will be able to give us his words of wisdom. Okay, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I feel like I feel like I've repeated myself umpteen thousand times for the last 3 months on the noise, the hype, the whatever. But yet people fall for it, and that's fine. That's fine. You believe who you want, listen to who you want to. We're all, you know, everybody has free will. You do what you want, but don't disrespect those of us who may have a difference of opinion. That's all I'm asking. But anyway, it is what it is. It's getting late. Uh, Thanks to I bought the CCC juice. Hey, Cuban, look, tell y'all right now. For a small donation of $19.99 per month, you can be a part of the South Coast Cane Insiders Club, where you will get exclusive information and videos and propaganda that hypes up Miami. Again, right now we're running a special, $19.99, to be part of the South Coast Cane Insiders Club. Does that sound familiar? I need to stop. I need to stop. I need to stop. But oh, the Insiders Club for $20 a month. Boy, I tell you what, this is only $19.99. Now, operators are standing by, but before you call, just wait. Before you call, we have a special gift. If you call within the next 3 hours, you will get, you know, I mean, isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they say? You know, they do all this, and then anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop. But anyway, look, like I said, I just want to jump on here, and well, it depends. It depends on what call center I'm using, Cuban. Okay. I have different days, different rates for different call centers. So it will be reflected in your bill, you know. Depends on, like I said, depends on when you call. If you call tonight, I'm using call center. Well, I can't tell you what call center, but I'm using a certain call center on Wednesday night. Now, on the weekend, I have a different call center. It's going to probably be a little bit more expensive because it's the weekend, but oh my gosh, they just don't understand us. They don't understand. But anyway, we'll get back at it. But anyway, thank y'all for stopping by. If you watch $199 a month. Oh, if you're a PS5, oh, you're paying tariffs because I'm an Xbox guy. So you PS5 folks, the stuff that's made in overseas, oh, you're going to pay tariffs. Oh yeah, PS5 will have extra charges on their bill just because you're not an Xbox. Anyway, look, that's really all I got to say. But in closing, I will say, Ike and Israel, I know y'all probably busy with life. But I really am looking forward to a bottom of the map, from the bottom of the map video. I know it's coming. I know it is. But I know it's the off season. Things are happening. It's August. But Thank God Aaron went north, and thank God this next system is going north. Because it's a rare treat this time of year in South Louisiana and, of course, South Florida to not have a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane coming up through your back door. But, yeah, and Shad, I hopefully your schoolwork is going well, your electrical engineering is going well. Uh, Katie, I hope the Dune cats are being fed well. And Cuban, Mr. Cuban Kane, Red Bull is going in a tailspin because next year Cadillac racing takes effect. Cadillac will be powered by Ferrari engines, so Red Bull, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Look, F1's on summer break. They don't come back till what, next week, week after next at the Dutch Grand Prix. So I don't know what I'm gonna do until then. But anyway, uh, appreciate Cuban as always stopping by and Lakers all day and QB. And to all the fine folks who may watch this at a later time, thank you so much. But again, until August 31st, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But I guarantee you one thing. By the end of the day on August 31st, we will know. Hopefully. So until then, y'all know me. I'm South Coast Kane. Thank y'all so much for taking time out your life to watch this. You know how we do it. Peace, love, and soul. Let's go, Canes. We are Canes fans, regardless of what they say, and who cares what they say. But until next time, thank y'all so much, and we are going to see y'all next time. Stay alert. Stay tuned. Bye.